again today. A little bit of a later start today. It's already 9 o'clock, but that's all good. I kind of felt like I needed to get a kind of little bit of a mellower start today. Enjoy this really nice B&B that I just ended up staying in. I mean, look at this look at this great room that I ended up with. I mean, look at the view. So yeah, got a free upgrade because they were quiet, which is really good. So yeah, back off again today. Another 200k, another 3,000 meters of ascent, maybe a little bit more. Heading north up to near Festiniog, across to Bala, down towards down past Lake Vermwy, all the way to Montgomery, and then up onto the Longmynd. I'm expecting to get there kind of a little bit late this evening, obviously due to the late start, but that's all good. Weather looks excellent. Body's not feeling too bad. Legs are a little bit stiff this morning, but not I think manageable. We'll see once I'm riding. Woke up this morning though with these kind of like sort of dodgy bits on my palms, like I think that's probably from the pretty rough gravel descents I had to do yesterday, so just need to keep an eye on them. My wrists were a little bit sore last night as well, but they're fine. The same with my kind of upper body was kind of a bit sore, but that's all fine now. So yeah, feeling reasonably good for what I've put myself through so far. If my geography is correct, that kind of white bit on the other side of the estuary there is Port Merion, where they shot the prisoner. It's a really interesting place to visit. Been there a few times. Right, so I'm 50k in now, just south of Festiniog. Oh, just on this massive climb over a pass here. I have done 1,250 meters of climbing, hoping for a fairly hefty negative split, to be fair. Feel really good. Legs feel great at the moment. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on to Bala. Hopefully find an open bike shop there and stock up on a bit more chamois cream and probably find some lunch. Right, so that's mission totally accomplished in Bala. Just had a big fat dirty meatball sandwich from Subway. It was actually really nice. The other thing I managed to get done was restock on chamois cream. So I'm just going back to the bike shop now to collect my bike. Managed to get it wiped down and a good application of a nice big handful of chamois cream, which my undercarriage is going to be very thankful for this afternoon. So it's 110k to the end now, but next kind of checkpoint really I guess is Montgomery. 62k from here. Anyway, catch you in a bit. So just coming into the bottom now of this big climb out of Bala over to Lake Vyrnwy. The views today have been like nothing short of spectacular. It's just been one incredible vista to the next. Now there's times I've turned corners and like to just see these, you know, either sort of like big rolling hills or valleys or maybe some sort of craggy rock faces, and I've been able to turn around and see an equally stunning view from where I've just come from. I mean, look at this. It's amazing what a difference just a little bit of sun makes. You know, today has made like the entire trip really worthwhile. Just had a really quick stop in Montgomery. All my layers on now to do the last 45k, 46k to up onto the Longmans into the Bridges YHA. Clearly pretty dark now, quite tired. Really looking forward to getting there actually, just getting this this third day done. Alright, see you in a bit. Made it to the hostel. I'm the only one here. Apparently there's been like mass cancellations due to the coronavirus, and yeah, it sounds like kind of everything's been ramping up while I've been on this trip. It's been kind of weird because I've been completely cut off from all of it. I pretty much had my phone off flight mode for the whole time, apart from a few messages from my girlfriend. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a weird feeling. Got a shower, got something to eat. It's really weird being the only one here. Honestly, it's like the bloody Shining. Um, anyway, anyway, um, back to today. Look, on the whole, excellent day's riding. Certainly, I think the best day so far. Weather was beautiful all day. The scenery today was absolutely stunning, like stunning, particularly between Porthmadog, Festiniog, Tabala generally. Massive, huge views that make you feel really small. Ride around Lake Bala was a little disappointing, honestly. That wasn't quite as quite the picturesque view I'd been hoping for, but Lake Vermwy was absolutely beautiful. Is that one of the most beautiful places in Wales? I think so. Loved that. So some quick stats on the ride. It was 204 kilometres, 3,600 metres of climbing. Quite looking forward to tomorrow now. It's kind of always weird going into the last day of a trip. On one hand, just kind of like looking forward to getting home, looking forward to seeing my girlfriend. On the other hand, it's always a little bit of a weird culture shock going back to the city and a different part of your life when you've been out on the bike for on your own for quite a few days. Anyway, I'm pretty tired. I'm totally rambling. I'll see you on the road tomorrow. Morning. Um, just had a massive breakfast of full English, couple of bowls of cereal, extra toast. Still drinking my coffee. Legs feel pretty sore today, but yeah, I'm sure that's just going to be a case of getting riding again, and hopefully they'll come to life. Feeling kind of reasonable in myself. I don't think the route should be that taxing today. There's a couple of steep ones. I think there's maybe two 12% climbs today. They're not going to be easy on these legs, but I think I did some 18, 19% ramps yesterday. So yeah, it should be pretty easy in comparison to that. Yeah, so I guess I'll just finish my coffee now and get out on the road. I headed south from Bridges YHA, passing through Clun, skirting round the edge of the Long Mynd through Church Stretton, continuing west through Wyre Forest, onto Kimver, and then eventually reaching King's Heath in Birmingham. Right, I'm just coming through Bishop's Castle. 12k in, I've taken 3 wrong turns already. Legs generally don't feel too bad, but as soon as I get into any headwind, they feel awful then. Fortunately, the wind is predicted to be mostly sort of cross tailwind today, but there's going to be some sections where that's not the case for sure. Morning. Clouds in pretty low over the Mynd. Glad I'm not on that side. Jesus Christ. People complain about cyclists on the road. Just coming into Church Stretton. Yeah, it's been okay this morning. It was nice to get down off the hill, I can tell you that. It was quite windy and a bit chilly and damp up there. It's been really nice since got down though. Broken up a bit in the weather. Yeah, I think today could be okay. I'm kind of riding on autopilot a little bit. Sometimes that's good. 10k goes past and you've barely even noticed. Other times you sort of think, what am I out here doing if I'm not actually enjoying what I'm seeing? So I'm going to stop in Church Stretton for something to eat. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but I think maybe 2 stops, maybe around about 70k. Another one maybe around 140, 150. And yeah, that will see me right to actually making it back in one piece. Mission accomplished. Got a bunch of food, ate, got food for later on as well, because I'm really suspicious that some of the places, little tiny places that I was planning on checking, village stores and cafes, are going to be closed. God, I'm having a real bad patch. Ugh. Super tired. It's been just a difficult kind of bit of the route, really. It's just been steep up and down, up and down, up and down. I think I'm at about maybe 105k now. Done about 2,000 meters of climbing though, so 2/3 of the climbing done. So it's about another 1,000 meters in the next 95k, which is reasonably flat, I guess. Yeah, but I really am tired right now. So I think it's about 30k to Upper Arley. There's a pub, I think there's a tea rooms, and there's a village shop. I think the tea rooms is definitely going to be closed by the time I get there. Village shop, who knows? Maybe the pub's not even open, given the current circumstance. I've got some food, so I can at least get something in me there. I'm really just hoping the pub will be open though. I can just neck a pint of Coke or something and get inside for 10 minutes. Just heading through Wye Forest. So just at a stop at the old New Inn at, well, I guess it's kind of Upper Arley. It's at the top of the hill, around the bottom of the hill, which is where I was originally going to stop. I saw this one was open and thought I wouldn't risk the other one being closed. So yeah, I probably stopped out a mile earlier than planned, feeling way better than I was when I was sheltering at that chapel. Holy cow. I had a really bad sort of like 2 or 3 minutes there where I was like properly going under for a moment. So yeah, but like getting back on the bike after that was actually kind of fine. Looking forward to the last stretch. Hopefully shouldn't take too long. And as much as I'll be happy to get home, I think I'll also be a little bit sad to finish. It looks like it was open. this road is just hewn from the craggy bedrock. So just coming into Clint. Truly is back in my yard now. Unfortunately, I've still got St Kilna's Pass to do though. Last climb up by the Peacock pub. It's not the steeper of the two climbs, but I mean, look, it's still bloody 14%. You see this blue light here? This blue light always haunts me on this final climb when I'm coming home from a night ride. So my reward for getting up that hill, my last two wine gums. Oh man, that tastes great. So it's about 10 days now since I got back off this trip, and I just wanted to do a quick roundup for the last day really. So I didn't do this when I got home that night because I was just so completely and utterly wired that like really I had nothing else I could think about than just getting a shower and getting some food. It was an odd day because of the atmosphere at the time. Now, at that point, I was still kind of not really aware of just how much the coronavirus issue was ramping up. But everywhere would just seemed very quiet. It felt to me, looking back on it now, like it was actually the sort of first day that things started to sort of change out on the street, really, with people seemingly going out less and staying at home more. Now, part of how I was kind of feeling on the day was obviously due to my kind of fatigue-addled brain, right? But there was a weird, eerie calmness to everywhere. Most of the roads that I went on that I was kind of like somewhat suspicious of when I planned the route originally, so some kind of A and B roads, were actually almost completely empty. There'd just be the sort of odd car passing backwards and forwards on those where you would really be expecting streams of traffic. Even places like Church Stretton, for instance, that are bustling little towns, even out of season, were very quiet. And stopping in the kind of bakery cafe in Church Stretton as well, like listening to the sort of the conversations that were going on in there from the odd local that would drop in. Was just about how quiet the town was, and people sort of saying that they didn't really have much to do in the surrounding businesses. I mentioned before about the sort of culture shock that you can often experience. Now, generally speaking, that was because I was always, getting off a train at New Street from travelling back from Mid Wales. But I really did expect the roads around the suburbs to be a lot busier than they actually were. And again, there was an eerie kind of calmness, stillness to those, to that last bit of the journey that I kind of wasn't really expecting. So the body held up pretty well on the last day. I actually had a lot less aches and pains than I was expecting. Day 3 had been really hard on my hands, and I was really expecting that to continue into day 4. And actually, it felt pretty much fine. So that was kind of a nice surprise. Legs had been sore all day, but again, totally manageable. Still had enough kind of power in that to get up every hill that I went at. So again, all of that was pretty fine. I did have a few kind of low, really tired moments, but I kind of ended up taking a lot of kind of 1 or 2 minute breaks, literally just stopping for a minute or two, almost just to admire the view sometimes. And actually, I found that really beneficial. That was quite surprising, really, that just such a short break could make that much of a difference. So just to finish off this daily roundup, the ride was 200k. It was about 3,300 meters of climbing, which yeah, it was a touch more than I was expecting. On the whole, just for the trip, we're talking 806 kilometers and just over 14,000 meters of climbing. I'm kind of pleased with myself, honestly, that I managed to kind of get through all of that, and frankly, physically feeling in much better condition than I thought I would be at the very end. But yeah, on the whole, this was a really, really good trip. So it's 3 weeks later now, and I wanted to leave it a little bit of time before I kind of reflected on this so that I could kind of get a bit of perspective on the whole trip. There's two main things I want to kind of talk about. Firstly, I was pretty obsessive about kind of personal hygiene in the bathing suit area, shall we say, and actually this really paid off for me. I was totally expecting saddle sores to be a challenge of this trip. 4 days back to back with at least 10 or 11 hours riding a day is likely to lead you into a position where you are going to be dealing with saddle sores. I mean, I can't say that I didn't have any saddle sores at all, but they certainly felt a little bit more like sort of pressure sores than they ever did chafing. So yeah, that really paid off. So if you suffer from saddle sores at all, I can highly recommend really going to town in that area, and seeing if that helps you out as well. Second thing I want to talk about is really about mental attitude. So back before I took my break from long distance riding, I did a fair number of kind of endurance events, challenges, ITTs, etc. But I honestly never really felt I reached the point in all of that I wanted to get to. And that was really doing ultras, moving on from sort of stuff that was of a kind of a 24-hour-ish type challenge and getting into proper multi-day type challenges. I think that what always held me back at that point was mentally, I just wasn't there. This trip really made me realise just how much my kind of mental state at that time had been holding me back. I was in much better shape physically then than I am now. But on this trip, I didn't have any of the self-doubt and those moments of where I really questioned whether I was going to be able to get through the thing that I'd set myself to do. Every one of the challenges that it presented itself, I was able to maintain a good attitude towards it. I never really kind of got on the tip of, oh, woe is me with any of it. Like, it was always just a case of, well, yeah, sure, this is tough, and like I might not quite be enjoying this right now, but what do I need to do to get through this? And this made an immense difference to, I think, just whether you are actually going to get through it, but also as well, I think, around just the level of enjoyment. It's the thing I would say going forwards. If you're looking to go and do events that are really going to be at the edge of your comfort zone, that are really going to challenge you, it's easy to train your body. Look at how you can train your mind. Approach things with a positive attitude. Approach things with a non-defeatist attitude. There was an interesting little tidbit from a podcast I listened to recently with Fiona Kolbringer and Emily Chappell. And Fiona was talking about the idea really of, even if you're hurting, if you're riding along and you know your hands are killing you, think about the body parts that aren't hurting and that are actually going really well. And I think that's a really good sort of way to approach the kind of mental game with this. Is think about those things that are going well, think about what you're doing well, and don't get overly obsessed on the little negatives that can really start to drag you down. So in terms of the whole trip, I really enjoyed this one. It was the first time I'd done kind of this sort of style in terms of actually staying in some accommodation rather than kind of bivvying or wild camping and that. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. I mean, there was one point where I kind of thought to myself a bit like, oh, you know, man, you've gone real soft here. Like, you know, but actually it was good just to try something else. And actually I think it's a really accessible way to do some, let's call it, say, kind of fast touring, if you like. You know, you might have a group of friends who are into long distance riding, who are maybe into ODAX, but don't have all the lightweight gear that you might want for doing sort of wild camping. And I think staying in hostels is a reasonably cheap way that you can go and do this sort of trip. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I can take a lot of confidence, I think, going forwards into sort of like the rest of the goals this summer, which, you know, may or may not happen given our current situation. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that. But yeah, that confidence that I've been able to take from this is something now that I'm gonna be able to use, I think, for a long time in terms of my own mental attitude.